Hey guys, welcome. Today's practice is designed to help us to start to rebuild some strength, some stability within the shoulder joint. This can be great if you are kind of past that point where you've been cleared for some a little bit stronger exercise post surgery, or feels like you're still having some weakness in the shoulders. For this class, you will want to be able to bear some weight on your arms, and I know for many of us that takes some time to get there. So if you're not quite there yet, no problem, right? There's a lot of other great classes to start to get you to this point. This just takes us that one little step further because we are going to work on some variations on side plank pose on Sasana. So we will want to be able to, with some support to start with, but to bear some weight, put some weight on your arms. You will also want to have something to use for a strap for class, whether you have a regular yoga belt at home or a scarf, anything like that will work. Okay, so we're just going to start in a comfortable seat. You can sit up on some height if you have a pillow or a blanket and you want something to do there. And set your strap, your whatever you've got off in front of you for a second, and just close your eyes. Give yourself these first couple moments just to settle into your practice, to make the transition from whatever you've been doing before this. And just give yourself this chunk of time that you've carved out to help heal, to help strengthen, and just to help connect back to your body and to begin to cultivate again that sense of trust in what it can do. That's not always an easy thing. And as we start to rebuild and recover, we also want to recover that. A little bit of sense of trust in our body that it can continue to recover, to move forward, to heal, and that we have that within us. And yoga is such a great tool for just little by little, step by step, helping us to move into that process. And so as you sit here and just take that moment to listen to your body, connect to your breath, and just take a moment to think about where is something, what is something about your body that you'd really like to have some trust in again. And just bring that to mind. You can set an intention around it, just take a moment to think about it. So you can just hold that with you as we move and breathe through the practice today. And once you have that, take one more full breath into that. And start to move it as just a thought in your head all the way down into your body. And then gently open your eyes. Grab your strap. And you want to take your arms out pretty wide in a V to start with here. And you will likely, I usually do have to change the length of the strap as we move through this one. So anchor through your seat. Sit tall. As we start this, we'll move with breath. With your inhale, reach both arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, begin to take your arms behind you. This is where you may need to make the strap a little longer and let them come all the way back. With your inhale, bring your arms up. And then exhale, come forward. So go nice and slow so it matches your breath. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, arms back. Good. Just start to move with your breath. Find your rhythm. Inhale, come back up. And then exhale forward. Take a few more and just notice there are usually going to be some little sticky spots along the way. It's okay, we all have them. And so you want to come to a place where you can feel it, there's sensation, but you're not pushing past it, you're not forcing anything. Let's take two more rounds. This is just starting to warm up the shoulder joints. This is a great way for getting the fluid. There's like a lubrication fluid in our joints, the synovial fluid. It just starts to help with lubrication, range of motion through the joint. Last one. Maybe you get a little bit more range of motion on the first one. Maybe. Good. And then just take your strap, your belt, whatever you've got, set it off to the side. Bring your hands down to your thighs and just take a couple big rolls with your shoulders back and forth, or one side and then the other. Get a little bit of the stickiness moving through. All right, so and then from here, let's come to tabletop pose, hands and knees. And as always, take a moment to set up your foundation so that there is a lot of support from hands all the way up to shoulders. So if you spread wide through your fingers and then really press down through your fingertips, just like you're clawing at the mat. I want you to think about this today almost like you're giving mixed messages to your yoga mat. So you're going to root down really strongly from your shoulders to your hands, like you're pressing the mat away, and feel that strength up your arms. But at the same time, grip your fingertips to the mat like you're pulling a little bit closer. So it feels really strong and supported from your shoulders all the way down to your fingertips. And then keep that, and we'll move through some rounds of cat-cow. So as you inhale, arch your back, look forward, squeeze your shoulder blades together. As you exhale, round through your back, slide your shoulder blades away from your spine, draw your chin towards your chest. Good. Inhale, arch your back, squeeze your shoulder blades in. And then exhale, as you round your back, press your hands into your mat and let your shoulder blades slide away from your spine. Good. A few times with your breath. And so you can lead here from different places. We're getting a lot of range of motion through the pelvis. And see if you can focus on that movement of the shoulder blades, sliding in towards your spine and then away. They have so much range of motion along the backs of the ribs there. And just feel, just like with the strap, some places might move really smoothly. Other places might feel a little bit stickier as you go through. Just start to want to bring that attention there and see what's happening. And take one more round. And then come back to center. Keep that stability through hands and shoulders. And then find a little lift and tone through your low belly as you zip up there. Hug your outer waist in for support. Think about that like you're pulling in the drawstring on your pants. And then stretch your right leg out behind you. Flex your foot. And you can either have your toes lifted, like your legs parallel to the mat. If a little bit more support would feel better, then bring your toes down to the mat. Okay, when you're ready, reach your left arm out in front, turn your thumb up. And then you're going to want to give a lot of support to the right hand as you press down through fingertips. Okay, and then we'll move a little with breath, or you can stay right here. This is probably already starting to develop some stability in your shoulder, but also through your core to wake up a little bit there. If it feels like I'm good here, I feel a little stable, and your back leg's lifted, take a full breath in, and then exhale, connect, elbow towards knee, draw your chin towards your chest. With your inhale, stretch it back out, nice full long breaths. And then exhale, curl and round and keep pressing your right hand down. Inhale, stretch back. And then exhale again, curl and round. Lengthen all the way back out, inhale. Keep your leg lifted, bring your left hand back down. And then step your right foot all the way over to the left side of your mat. Like I'm even stepping across outside. And then look out over your left shoulder. So you're looking back at your right foot. And hopefully you just start to feel a little bit more length all along your right side body. You can distribute your weight evenly onto both hands. Take a couple full breaths into that space all along the right side body. And with your inhale, bring your leg back to center. Exhale, both knees down. Take one round of cat-cow in between. So inhale, arch your back, hug shoulder blades together. And then exhale, press into your mat. Draw your belly button up and let your shoulder blades slide away. And come back to center and find that support through your core. So as you zip up through the low belly and then again hug outer waistline in. And then this time take your left foot behind you, either toes down for a little bit more support or leg lifted. And if you lift your leg, just roll your inner left thigh up and level out through the pelvis. Okay, keep that. Really root down through your left hand. So press left shoulder to left hand and then grip at your fingertips. And reach your right arm out in front. It's the same options. You can stay with leg down, just extended for a little bit more support. Or as you exhale, draw elbow to knee, hug in. And inhale, lengthen out. And then do two more with your breath. And so even as we start to rebuild some strength and stability, we still want to find that place where we're not forcing, right? So we find a little bit more support if we need it, and a little push where it's appropriate. Good. After that, third one, bring your right hand back down, and then step your left foot all the way over to the right. Okay, look out over your right shoulder. I like to be up on the ball of the foot here. I think it just gives you a little bit more oomph as you press into the ball of the foot to keep your leg strong and engaged. And then this time, just a couple big breaths into your left side body. Start to create a little bit more space there. And then bring your left leg back across, bring both knees down. And then just for a moment, sit back on your heels and take your wrists and do a couple big circles. You can do both directions at the same time or do opposite. And just keep movement through the wrists. Just like we did some lubrication for the shoulder joint, great to do that for your wrists as well. And then open and close your hands a few times, just like you're spreading them wide and making fists. Just preparing to bear a little bit more weight on them. All right, come forward, plant your hands, stretch back, downward facing dog. You can keep a little bend in your knees if that feels better in down dog, or work your legs towards straight. But do that same action with your hands. So press down from your shoulders to your hands, like you're pressing your mat away, but then grip with your fingertips onto the mat. You press down especially through the thumb and the index finger, and then roll the eyes of the elbows up as you wrap your triceps down. Just a nice way to create a little bit more support through the shoulders there. And then walk your feet back just a few inches so you're in a nice long down dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. With your next inhale, slowly slide forward to high plank pose until your shoulders stack right over your wrists. And then with your exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And do one more like that. Inhale slowly, kind of like a wave of your back to come forward, high plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And from down dog, walk your hands nice and slowly back to your feet to come to the back end of your mat. Again, you can bend knees in the forward fold if that feels better, or have legs straight. And then press down into your feet, hug your inner legs in towards center so they're nice and strong. With your inhale, come all the way up, reach both arms up overhead. And with your exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Take a full round of breath. And lift your heart to your hands, hug your shoulder blades back. So just start to get that strength in between the shoulder blades, really nice for keeping the chest open. Inhale, reach both arms up. And then exhale with a long spine, fold forward. Good. Legs strong, so press down into your feet. With your inhale, lift halfway. You can keep hands to mat or bring them to shins. Lengthen out through the top of your head. And just pause here. Find a little bit more lift through your low belly. Even here, draw your shoulder blades onto your back like you're squeezing them in towards your spine like we did in that cat-cow. And keep that as you fold forward again. And then walk your hands out again, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. And then with your exhale, bring your knees down to your mat. Okay. First variation, you take your left hand, walk it forward a little bit further, like so it's not just straight under your shoulder, but a little bit further forward. And then do that same press down from shoulder to hand, but grip your fingertip. Okay, and then take your left toes off the side of your mat, just like a little kickstand. And so I'll show you on this side. You're going to roll onto your left hand, left knee, and then stretch your right leg long. So that in general, your hand, your knee, and your foot are all in one long line. And what you're looking for to start with is that you can get your whole back foot down. So there's a really good strong connection there. And just reach your top arm up, right? So variation 1, you might stay here the whole practice. This is great, right? You can feel that we're already starting to bear weight, arm, wrist, elbow, shoulder, to create a little bit more stability there. Couple little things to fine tune, right? Again, that press down, grip of your fingertips, and then just like down dog, roll the eye of your elbow forward towards the front of your mat. That'll give the shoulder a little bit more space. And then you do want to have the hand so it's out a little bit in front of the shoulder instead of straight down, right? So it's here instead of here if you're a visual person. And so that tends to be a little bit gentler for the wrists. Right, so great supported variation with the knee down that you might stay the whole time as we build some other variations from here. Okay, next exhale, both hands down to your mat, tabletop. Take a breath or even take a round of cat-cow in between. Sometimes that feels really good after those supported Vashistasanas. Okay, and then walk your right hand forward a few inches. You take your right toes behind you, just like a little kickstand. And then roll onto right hand, right knee with your left foot long. And just take a look, hand, knee, and foot in line. And get your whole foot down on that extended leg. Reach your top arm up. And then press down strongly from right shoulder to right hand, like you're pressing the mat away. That might give you a little bit of lift and support. And then grip with your fingertips. Keep that as you roll the eye of your elbow forward towards the front of your mat. Might not face all the way in that direction, but that's where we're working towards. Give you a little bit more space. And even as you press down, you can open up, expand, spread out wide through your arms. Good. And then next, exhale, unwind, bring both hands down to the mat. Take a round of cat-cow. And then from here, press into your hands, stretch your hips up and back, downward facing dog. With your next inhale, reach your right leg up and back. Exhale, step your foot all the way through. If you didn't quite land in between your hands, grab your ankle, help it along, and then bring your left knee down to the mat. And you can always pad the mat here too. Some of these knees are a little bit more sensitive, so if you fold it in half, it'll give you a little bit more padding there. And with your inhale, bring your hands to your front thigh to start. And give a little squeeze of your inner legs into center so they feel stable. And then lift up through your belly so there's some support through your center. And then with that, you can let the hips start to come forward a little bit, just so it feels like there's support and you're not just hanging out in the front of the hip. The strength of the legs helps to support the opening in the front of the left hip. Okay, and then take your arms straight forward. Flex your wrist so your fingers are pointing up towards the ceiling. Right? And then press away, right? So from shoulders to hands, just like you're pressing the mat away, and you might feel your shoulder blades slide away from your spine. And then keep that, bring your arms all the way up overhead or in that direction. Right? That might be here, might be all the way up. And then really press up through the heels of your hands. You can lift your chest up a little bit, find just a little bit of back bend, but keep your legs strong. So just a nice way to get some range of motion without bearing weight for a few moments. Take another breath in. And through exhale, bring your hands down to your mat and then shift your hips back. Ardha Hanuman or half splits. Flex your front foot. I like to wiggle my right heel forward a little bit here. Blocks, if you have them, can also be wonderful here for a little bit more height. This can be great too, especially if the hamstrings are feeling less flexible today. And so with your right foot flexed, press it down. Press down into your heel, and then traction your heel back. You can stay pretty upright, or you can start to walk your hands forward. Just find where that right amount of sensation is for you. I think some of the things we ask ourselves sometimes is like, how do I know? Where's the right amount? What's enough, but not too much? And there's a couple of things. The more that we practice, the more we know, right? We know what's good stretch, what's sensation, where have we crossed over that line. But it also comes down to some of that trust in our body, that when we get quiet enough, when we listen, it tells us what's right, what's not. Where's the yes, where's the no? And then walk your hands back. And bring both hands down to your mat. Bend your front knee. And then as you lift your back leg, take a big step all the way forward. And press down into your feet so your legs feel strong. And bring your hands to your hips. As you inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Take a breath. And big circle around with your arms. Reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Lift halfway, take a breath in, and same thing, just pause here. So often this is just a stopover. Use it to hug your shoulder blades back, and then draw the bottom tips of your shoulder blades down towards your waist. So it feels like they're not up in your ears, but moving the other direction. And at the same time, lengthen the top of your head forward so your neck feels long, lots of space there. Take another full breath in. And then with your exhale, fold, hands to your mat, step your right foot back, bring your right knee down to your mat. Same thing, you can fold the mat over, pad your knee if that would feel better. And then just go ahead and start with your hands on your left thigh. Use this moment to strengthen the foundation first. So squeeze your legs in towards center, like you're dragging your front heel towards your back knee. And then find some lift through your belly. And you might choose to stay right here if there's like, this is enough sensation in the front of the hip, which it really can be. Or you can start to let the hips come forward. Right. Listen, trust that your body's going to tell you the right place to be. Usually it's our mind that tells us, right? The other thing, it's overthinking. Our bodies, if we listen, will usually tell us the right yes and the right no. Okay, arms forward, flex your wrists. Press your hands forward so that your shoulder blades slide away from your spine. And with your inhale, reach both arms up overhead. And then once you've gotten there, reach that end range of motion, press up through the heels of your hands, but keep your legs strong. Take a couple full breaths and just listen. Side to side might be different. What does sensation feel like? Here we're in that same arm position, wrist position, as we are in side plank, just not bearing weight. So it gives us a little feedback on what that feels like. With your next exhale, bring your hands to your heart, shift your hips back, bring your front leg to or towards straight. Wiggle your left heel forward a couple inches, just until it feels like your right hip stays stacked over your right knee. Grab blocks if you want a little bit more support. Flex your left foot. And then press your heel down into your mat and traction it back. So you get the hamstrings, that support to turn on there. And same thing, you can stay pretty upright, or you can start to walk your hands forward and just fold your chest in towards your thigh. And wherever you get to, take a few full breaths. I think it's not uncommon that when we're going through chronic illness, when we're going through treatment, when we feel like we can't trust our bodies, that they're doing things that are out of our control, It takes a little time for that relationship to develop back. Like we can trust in in its feedback and its strength and its support. Just like a relationship we have to come back to with our own body. And inhale, come forward, bend your knee, plant your hands, this time step back, down dog. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, bring your knees down to your mat, tabletop. Okay, walk your left hand forward. Right, same idea as press down from shoulder to hand and then grip at your fingertips so it feels really strong and supported. Take your left toes off the side of your mat. It's just like a kickstand for the balance. I'd like to show it on the side that you can see better. You can have toes tucked under, toes flat, whatever feels more stable for you. And then left hand, left knee, stretch your right leg long and reach your right arm up to begin. And so that your left hand is at that angle, so your arm's more at a diagonal than straight down. Let that open up the angle of the wrist. Roll the eye of your elbow forward and then press the mat away. Okay, so you can stay right here, this first variation on side plank like we did just a few minutes ago. You can stay there the whole time. If you feel like I want to try the next one, pick your right leg up and then bend your knee, reach back. And your hand and foot may or may not connect. You can reach in that direction, or you might reach the back of your foot or the front of your foot behind you. If you have the foot, press hand and foot into one another. Keep pressing down into your left hand. Hug your shoulder blades together. And just let the center of your chest come forward. Take a full breath. And unwind, come back to tabletop. Come walk your left hand back a few inches, and then again, just take a round of cat-cow in between. And let's come right side. So just walk your right hand forward a few inches to start. That's going to help with that angle of the wrist. Take your right toes behind you, stretch your left leg out long, and then reach your left arm up. Press down, right shoulder to right hand, grip at your fingertips. Same thing, stay right here. You can probably already feel that it's starting to work. Or lift your leg, bend your knee, reach back. Maybe hand and foot connect. Sometimes side to side is really different on this one. That work we just did in that low crescent lunge just helps to warm up the front of the thigh and open up the front of the hip, so it may have gotten you a little range of motion. And then press foot and hand together if you have that. Hug your shoulder blades in towards your spine. And then just let the center of your chest come forward. And just listen to what's happening in shoulder and arm. A little bit of shaking sometimes is okay. Just means the strength's coming back. As long as you feel like there's enough support. Listen enough to trust the answer that your body's giving you. Unwind, inhale. Both hands down. Take a round of cat-cow. And then from there, stretch up and back, down dog. With your inhale, lift up onto your toes. Bend your knees, look between your hands, and then walk or a big step forward, feet to hands, come to the front of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips. And squeeze your shoulder blades in towards your spine here. With your inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Keep that strength of your shoulder blades on your back. Oftentimes too, like one of the most common things we get right is shoulder blades to round forward. And so the more we can develop that strength in between, then we start to create a little bit more space in the chest too. Okay, both arms up, inhale, big circle around, reach up. And then exhale, fold. Step your right foot back. This time, turn and plant your back heel. Come up to warrior two, but straighten your front leg. Take a breath in, and then exhale, reach forward, come down for triangle. So if you have a block, I encourage you to use your block in triangle. Even if you don't usually use it, it's just going to give you a little bit more surface area. Right, you can come up on the highest setting, middle, low, whatever feels like the right place to be. And then start again by strengthening foundation. So hug your heels in. Press down from your hips to your feet so you get strong through your legs. And then really press into your left hand and stretch up through your right hand. So this is really the same position as side plank, just with a lot more support of our legs. But again, like we did with just arms up overhead, we start to train the muscles. We create a little muscle memory in that direction so that as we start to build those side plank variations, the body knows a little bit more where you're going. Okay, press on into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, circle your hands down to your mat, step all the way forward. And then we're just going to switch sides from here. So step your left foot back. Turn and plant your back heel. With your inhale, come all the way up and straighten your front leg. And as you exhale, reach forward, come down triangle. Right, hand to block if you have it. If your hand reaches the mat, great. For a lot of us, sometimes that makes the upper body kind of collapse in. So it's nice to give yourself a little more space there. Good. Squeeze your heels together, feel that stability. And then press down into your feet. At the same time, press down into your right hand. Reach your left arm up. So you spread out wide through your fingers. And just get that feedback of really pressing your hand down into the block. Take another full breath. With your inhale, come all the way up. With your exhale, circle your hands down to your mat. Step back, down dog. Right, so we're going to work into the next variation of side plank with the support of a foot in front. So if it feels like this is a great place for me, great. Feels like you want to come back to the knee down variation as we start to work here, right? Do that. Trust, right, that over time, that strength, that stability will start to rebuild, or that you may always keep your knee down and you're starting to rebuild the strength from there. Either place is going to start to work into those muscles of the shoulder and to start to help you recover and rebuild there. Okay, so either come back to tabletop, take that variation there, or walk your feet back a couple of inches, bring your big toes together to touch. Get really strong through your left hand, just like we did in the other variation. And then roll into left hand, outer edge of left foot. Reach your right arm up and step your right foot in front. Okay, so now you can really press through the outer edge of your back foot and the sole of your right foot to lift your hips a little. So instead of letting them sag, see if you can press down. All right, bring your left hand far enough forward. So again, there's that angle and it's a little gentler on the wrist. And then press down from left hand to left shoulder, or left shoulder to left hand. That even helped lift my hips a little. And then grip at your fingertips. Full breath in. And then exhale, both hands down, step back, down dog, or tabletop. Take a breath. And sometimes we have to try the variation to know, like, yep, that's great, or nope, it doesn't work. And listen to the answer that our body gives us. Okay, big toes together. Walk your feet back and let's see this nice long down dog. It's going to help line up that angle of the hand and the wrist. Root through your right hand, roll into right hand outer edge of right foot. Reach your left arm up. And then step your left foot in front. Press into your feet. Root down into your hand. Roll the eye of your elbow forward. Check in with your breath. Take one more full breath in. And then exhale, both hands down to the mat, step back, down dog. From here, walk your hands back to your feet, come to the back of your mat. And then just take a hold of opposite elbows, let your head hang, just this nice ragdoll position for a couple of breaths. It might even feel good to let your upper body, your shoulders just sway a little bit side to side, let them find a little release. This might be a great practice to keep coming back to, right? If one of the things you're focusing on is really rebuilding some of that strength within the shoulder and the chest, right? It's getting all around that. And then each time you might be able to just play a little with a different variation or over time. And bring your hands to your hips, strong legs, and then nice and slow. Inhale, come all the way up. Okay, from here, bring your feet together, your hands to your hips to start. I'm just going to move into one balance pose with a little shoulder opening from there as an interlude between our side planks. So step into your left foot and then tree pose. So you can do sole of your foot, right? You can do like a kickstand there to the ankle. You can do sole of your foot to your inner shin or to your upper inner thigh. Okay, and then just take a moment to find your steadiness. Root down through your left foot. Find a single point of focus for your eyes. Okay, the gaze really helps with balance. And then press your right foot and your left leg, squeeze them in towards center. Okay, from here, make fists. And then take those fists behind you and press your fists together. And as you do that, squeeze your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Okay, and if you're here and you feel like this is good, but I have a little bit more range of motion in my wrists or hands, you can take your hands together in prayer behind you. For many of us, that's a lot on the wrists. So this fist variation can be nice because you can really press the fists together and then use that to squeeze shoulder blades in. Wherever you're at, just take another full round of breath. Good. Unwind, both feet down, hands to heart. And then we'll just take second side. So switch weight onto your right foot and bring your left foot in, right? So you're doing toes down like a little kickstand, inner shin or upper inner thigh. Might be different from the first side. Okay, find that point of focus for your eyes, or drishti. Anchor down through your standing foot. Sometimes a little bit more weight to the inner edge of the foot can be really helpful. Press the sole of your left foot and your right leg, hug them into center. And with your arms by your sides, start like this. Start with your hands forward, then make fists. Then turn your thumbs in towards your waist. Take your fists behind you, press them together. Right. Press together and then squeeze shoulder blades in. Same thing, and if reverse prayer seems like a good option, great. If this feels like a good stopping point, stay here. Take a couple full breaths. There's little fluctuations happening in the foot and the leg. Allow it to happen, and at the same time rooting down. Right? Those little fluctuations, whether they're in our leg or our arm as we're working, our body is trying to reorganize around doing something new. Unwind, both feet down, hands to heart, take a breath. Inhale, sweep both arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Okay, and then walk your hands forward again, downward facing dog. Okay, one more variation. So come back to any of the first three now, right? Knee down with the lift of the leg, or stepping the top foot in front. Right? We're going to work towards this variation with legs stacked, maybe, or maybe not. It's a strong hands. Walk your feet back a little bit to a nice long down dog. And your left hand root down, and then roll into left hand, outer edge of left foot. Reach your right arm up. Good. Press down, shoulder to hand. Grip with your fingertips. Roll the eye of your elbow forward. Flex your feet and press through the outer edge of your bottom foot. Maybe those little fluctuations are happening. Take another breath in. And then exhale, hands down, Lift hips, take a breath. Right, whatever variation you're in. You can just see that progression of one after the other. Okay, last one. Feet together, walk your feet back. Anchor down through your right hand, and then roll into right hand outer edge of right foot. Reach your left arm up. Right, so we're here with legs stacked, top foot in front, or bottom knee down. Press them out away to lift your hips, and press through the outer edge of your bottom foot. One more breath in. And then exhale, hands down, lift your hips. Let's come down child's pose, knees wide, big toes together, hips back to heels. And then even just walk your hands back by your feet. Let your forehead rest. And just allow your back to round here so it feels like shoulder blades again drop away from your spine. Let your breath slow down a little bit. Just notice the sensation that comes in after. After we ask that muscle tissue to start to work again, to reorganize, to rebuild. That there's an awareness, but we haven't pushed past that. Sometimes we just have to trust that a slow, steady process works really well. You don't have to push full speed ahead. Take a couple more breaths. And then go ahead and walk yourself forward again to tabletop. And from tabletop, come all the way down onto your belly. Okay, from here, you're going to stretch your arms out wide. And you come out wide like a T, but I actually like to walk my right hand just a little bit further forward. Right, so you can have a little bit of an angle or diagonal from your shoulder to your wrist. And then use your left hand to roll up onto your right side. And so the arm is either straight up from the shoulder, a little bit of a diagonal. It's just going to hit different places in the tissue. And so you can see what seems to work best for you. Let the side of your head rest. And then you can either keep your legs stacked or step your right foot behind. Nope, left foot, other side. And we just get a little stretch for all that shoulder work that we did. And if it feels like the sensation's too much, this one can bring up a fair amount. You can always roll forward a little bit, roll away from the shoulder. It's going to be different from kind of rolling in and then stepping behind. Let's take a couple more breaths on this side. Good. Come on back to center. And just make a pillow with your hands. Turn your head to one side. Take a breath. Okay, and then again, bring your arms out wide. And you can walk your left hand just a little bit at a diagonal. And then use your right hand, roll up onto your left side. It might be really different sensations side to side. So go slowly. Same thing, legs stacked. You can roll away from the stretch a little bit, so like you're rolling your belly towards the mat, or roll into it a little bit more, just depending on how it feels. Maybe you step your top foot behind. Maybe. Let the side of your head rest. And bring the non-stretching arm wherever it's most comfortable. Take a few breaths. And then roll back to center, stack your hands, turn your head to the other side, take a breath. And then you can stay lying just as you are with your head facing towards the front of the mat and come all the way onto your back. If it feels better to roll the other direction or switch where you're at, fine. You are welcome to do that. And then from here, bring your knees into your chest. Give your thighs a good squeeze in towards your belly and just take a rock side to side. You can wrap your hands around the front of your shins or hold on to one wrist or the other. And come back to center. Take a full breath in. Squeeze your forehead up to your knees like you're curling up in a tight little ball. And then as you exhale, stretch your legs out long and settle your body into Shavasana, into final resting pose. You can bring hands somewhere along your body, or you can let them come out long by your sides. Just close your eyes. Allow your back body to settle down into the mat and just start to release effort. It might even feel good here to snuggle the shoulder blades up underneath the body. So it's like lifting one side of the shoulder, snuggle it under, and so then you can support the weight of your chest as it settles back. Release any effort with your breath. As you settle into these just final moments of rest here, notice how your body feels. What might feel a little stronger? What might feel a little shaky or wobbly? What feedback is your body giving you? And how do we learn to listen, to trust that? Those things that our body's telling us. And then be able to trust in the support that it gives us as we move about throughout the day. And take just a few more moments of rest here. Take some fuller breaths again. As you inhale, just take a full stretch. You can reach your arms up overhead or just out to the sides. As you exhale, draw your knees in towards your chest. Roll to your side. And help yourself all the way back up to sitting. And when you get there, bring your hands together at your heart. Sit tall. Lift heart to hands. And then bow in head to heart to that trust in our bodies. Thank you so much for sharing the practice. Namaste.